Space Flight Firsts, Diversity in America's Astronaut Corps by Jeff Hendricks. Introduction. Being a pioneer means breaking down barriers. Sometimes it is a physical barrier, such as flying faster than the speed of sound, or running a mile in less than 4 minutes. But sometimes the barrier can be one of prejudice, discrimination, or tradition. American history has had many pioneers who broke down these types of barriers. Amelia Earhart defied the idea that women should not become pilots. Her historic solo flight across the Atlantic in 1932 proved skeptics wrong. In 1947, Jackie Robinson, the first African-American baseball player to play in the major league, broke down a barrier of prejudice that had existed for major league sports. The biographies of the astronauts in this book tell the stories of some unique pioneers. They aren't about the first flight in space, or the first spacewalk, or even the first manned moon landing. Like the pioneers of the past, these people's stories are different. They are about men and women who have broken the barriers of tradition, prejudice, or discrimination to achieve some historic spaceflight firsts. Chapter 1. A New Kind of Astronaut. On July 17, 1975, an American Apollo spacecraft docked with a Soviet Soyuz space capsule in orbit around Earth. Shortly thereafter, Apollo astronaut Thomas Stafford opened the docking hatch. Soyuz cosmonaut Alexei Leonov reached across the hatch. Both men shook hands. The space race between the United States and the Soviet Union was over. For nearly 20 years, the two countries had been engaged in an intense competition to explore outer space. Each country raced to launch artificial satellites, send humans into space, land people on the moon, and establish permanent space stations in Earth's orbit. Both countries could claim the bragging rights to a number of firsts. But the competition had been far from friendly. During this time, the two countries were engaged in a Cold War, where neither side trusted the other. The thawing in the icy relationship began in the mid-1970s. The space agencies of both countries undertook the joint Apollo-Soyuz project. A new era of cooperation in space was begun. It was symbolized by the handshake between Stafford and Leonov. With the space race over, National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, the United States Space Agency, began to focus on a new direction for space exploration. The Apollo moon missions had been incredibly expensive. NASA was looking for ways to make spaceflight more affordable. This led to the development of the Space Shuttle program. Previous spacecraft in other manned missions were used only once. But the Space Shuttle would be a reusable spacecraft. This would cut down on the mission costs. The engineers at NASA developed a fleet of reusable vehicles called Space Shuttles. Each Space Shuttle is designed for use in low Earth orbit. Space Shuttles are not capable of flights to the moon or beyond. 6 spacecraft have made up the shuttle fleet: Atlantis, Challenger, Columbia, Discovery, Enterprise, and Endeavour. The Space Shuttle would also be larger and more versatile. It would be used for many types of space missions. These missions were intended to be more scientific in nature. NASA decided it needed a new type of astronaut. Throughout the years of the space race, only jet pilots had been considered as candidates to become astronauts or cosmonauts. Nearly 60 space missions had taken place between 1961 and 1975, and, with one exception, all the astronauts and cosmonauts had been Caucasian, white males. But other events were happening during the time of the space race that had significant impacts on American values. The 1950s and 1960s were also the time of the civil rights.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?